The question of the day. Do you know what prop diverter is? Last episode, we spent most of the time on the ocean. This episode, we are spending most of it under the ocean, and you get to hear my claustrophobic ass squirm quite a bit. But before we get into all that, I got a couple things I want to toss over your way. You're looking to relax, rejuvenate, get a good night's sleep, jump over to liverishi.com. Check out all the great products they have. They've been a long time supporter of the show, and I've been a long time user. Love the stuff, and this is not your drugstore or head shop type of product. It's third-party tested, all locally sourced and organic. Check it out, liverishi.com, and use the code word TABLE at checkout and get seriously hooked up. I can't tell you what it is on air, but check it out. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Next, got a YouTube channel. Yep, the table has a YouTube channel. Go over to Walt's Kitchen Table and see my smiling mug and hit the subscribe button. Like, share, and get that out. I got some things coming up that are going to be just on the YouTube channel, so I want to be able to show that to everybody. So again, Walt's Kitchen Table, YouTube. I would love for you to go over, subscribe, like, and share. And some of that stuff is the summer tour. What I did was, it's called the Travel and Table Tour 2020. Going to go over the next couple months, going to be visiting a lot of cool places. You'll be able to keep up on that with social media, and YouTube will have some stuff on there only. So there's going to be some stuff only on YouTube on that. So with that, let's get on to the show. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. Mark Brody, this guy is just a blast to hang out with. Had a great time with him here. I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Some of the things we get into is, how about the Irish Mafia in Times Square? Dad sayings, working in the corporate world, screaming in your car while stuck in traffic, and his story about getting hired at CBS is right out of a movie script. When he describes it, it's so funny. And then he explains in detail about the Benz. Whew. That just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. And, of course, how about a real live pirate ship? We get into that. Let's get to it. Can you hear me? Whoa, what's up, buddy? You can hear me, can't you?
In there somewhere? Hello.
Hello. Man, it took me probably 5-6 episodes to get this down right.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my older episodes sound crazy bad.
Yeah.
That's
well, the
cool.
mics, it depends on the mics, the proximity, how people talk, how loud they are, and then how are you recording it. And,
I did. I try to keep it.
Also, you got a little ambience over here.
Oh, shit. I got to turn that off. Hang on a second. I forgot about that.
See, you're talking to somebody who spent 40 years.
I was going to say, not like with a sound engineer at the fucking.
It's like, I don't know what you would sound like. I can tell you what it's going to sound like.
But, man, and then the levels on my computer, it took me a while to
equalize them,
figure it out. And then all I really do, the only editing I do is depending on if you're fucking clown. Man, 5,000 unemployed comedians in the country, and I got to have one on my fucking podcast. God damn. But no, the only thing I ever do is put a limiter on it.
Yeah.
Before I download
good.
the file,
I put. I might laugh.
Yeah, and
or fart.
Yeah, the thing is, man, the first couple episodes, I go back and listen to them, and you got to have the volume on your radio up so fucking loud. Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Now I figured it out. Of course, I asked people and all that shit. So
sure.
It's a learning curve, but it's all good.
Like anything else.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down, man.
Yeah.
Big trip from the city, right?
No, I work in Kenilworth, New Jersey.
What? I thought you worked in the city.
Can I swear?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck no.
No?
Fuck no!
Oh, I don't blame you there, dude. I don't know how people do that commute.
Me? Well, I worked in the city for 20 years.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you public commute?
1984. You know, I mean, because I worked for the news, I never knew what my hours were. So most nights, it depends what part of my career you're talking about. So, yeah. Did I use public transportation?
Most of the time?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I drove.
You drove in?
Most of the time.
Yeah. I like having that.
Consider most of the time, I'd say most of the time. There were nights I was very sad and upset that I had taken my car.
Why is that?
The traffic.
Oh, sitting in traffic.
Well,
the traffic pattern is so unpredictable.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we've been recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you.
No, I'm sorry, man. We're not recording.
Okay. So what's really crazy is one of the reasons why I stopped really working for CBS in the city was because there was a couple times, especially there was a snowstorm back in, I think 97 or something. And it took me 4 hours to get from Manhattan to West Caldwell. 4 hours. So that just tears you up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I remember in the summer, there were certain points in my commuting career where I just hit a wall. I would do it, and I did it for 17, 18 years. But there were certain points in the career where I was I literally sat in my car in traffic and cried.
Oh, I totally, I get it.
I mean, cried.
I
Tears.
I can't tell you how many times, and I bet you there's a ton of people out there can relate. You just start screaming in your car. Oh. You just got to let it out. Getting stuck in fucking traffic like that. I remember I went in for a gig in my past life, and it was at the...
you had a past life?
Oh, yeah, of course. I had about 15 past lives, right?
Cool. Were you as nice in your past life as you are now?
No. A complete 180.
No.
I was an asshole.
Yeah.
I was mean.
Join the crowd.
Yeah, I was mean. Was it the Waldorf? Was it at the Waldorf? So it started torrential downpour. And you know where what's the museum, the aircraft carrier?
Oh, the Intrepid.
The Intrepid.
Yeah.
Right? So from the Intrepid, so I left Waldorf, right? Going to the Lincoln Tunnel.
Right.
I remember looking over at the Intrepid, and by the time I got to the mouth of the Lincoln Tunnel to come into New Jersey, it was 2.5 hours later. Mm-hmm. And it was pouring so hard of rain, I couldn't even hear the radio, my radio.
Oh, gosh.
And you're just itching along and people beeping and swearing and just fuck, dude. I was like, I don't know how.
Oh, back in the day, back in the 80s. I mean, I was here. I came to New York in 84 from Boston, and it was drugs, hookers.
Like we're in your neighborhood or where you work?
Of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, sure.
So all the way from the Lincoln Tunnel all the way up till the 50s, the whole West Side was just drugs, alcohol, hookers, pimps, just violence.
So that's what you were doing. That was one of your, what part of that was your career commuting into the city?
Well, what's really funny, we go and we have seminars with the Canes at the Skyline.
Well, that used to be
the Skyline was a den of iniquity back in the day.
No shit.
Oh my God. Well, so a really close friend of mine, I won't mention names, was in the Irish Mafia. Okay. And so he was from Boston. So when I came to New York, somehow we ran into each other, of all things, on the street in Times Square. Didn't even know we each were in New York. And
you're like, hey, don't I know?
He was filming for, I think, ABC or somebody.
Oh, okay.
And I was in the city hanging out. And there he is. And we, connected and realized he was a cinematographer shooter for the news divisions of different ABC, NBC, CBS. And I was working at CBS. And so we became fast friends. And he lived in the middle of Hell's Kitchen on 46th between 9th and 10th. And so he was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But in those days, it was bad news.
No shit, huh?
Really scary.
Huh.
But I knew people.
Right,
So I was
right,
cool.
well, yeah,
It was all good.
yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
How long did you work there?
At
Right?
CBS?
Yeah, right. Because you were in Hell's Kitchen at
Well,
CBS.
CBS is on 57th between 10th and 11th,
Okay.
right? They own the whole block. They have a huge broadcast center building. They
Still
have
there?
Like 6 studios. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Still there. Been there since...
Now,
Actually, it was a cow dairy transport milking facility back in the 20s,
I was going to
30s.
say it's got to be 20s, right?
Yep. And the train tracks go right under the building.
Yep.
And the trains would pull in and they would load the milk and the cows
And then pull it
in
back
and out.
out.
And so if you go into CBS where the studios are on 2 different floors, and there's huge ramps about 40 feet wide that go between the floors, and that's where they now move the sets from one studio to another.
Oh, no shit. But back in the day, it was cattle.
It was
and,
cattle.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
cool. I used to give tours. When I worked there, I used to give tours for people, and half the people in the building didn't even know it existed. Unless you worked in the studios, you would never know.
Never see it. Right,
Because
right.
you'd never go, and that's where the sets are all stored, and it's a huge place.
Oh, yeah.
It's massive.
Now, so people that are listening in,
Is somebody listening?
God, I hope
Hello?
so.
Is anybody listening?
Hello.
Okay. Shh.
You got to watch your
Tell
mouth,
these
dude.
stories.
Come on, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. What do you want to know?
Where you got CBS, is that right in Hell's Kitchen or close to? Like,
It's up above Hell's Kitchen. So Hell's
Okay,
Kitchen
but-
is 40s, CBS 57th.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit
but
north of that.
you came through Hell's Kitchen to get to work?
Every day. And then on the way home. And on the way home, I'd hang out with my friends in Hell's Kitchen. Yeah. It was
Happy
cool.
hour and all that?
Oh, yeah. At
Yeah,
the Skyline. Happy hour at the Skyline, man. I won't tell you what we did.
Yeah, well, we can use our imagination, right?
Oh, you can. If you lived through the 80s, you know exactly what was going on.
I was more the 90s and early 2000s, but it was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then you got your own business, right?
Yeah, so I was at CBS until 2000, and then I started, I joined another company as a partner. I bought part of the company, sweat equity, and some cash, and we had an office on 49th Street with the J. Crew J. Crew.
Yeah.
So we were on the 6th floor, 51 and 10th Avenue. And
Oh, shit. Just right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And so I was there for a year. And then I had a partner. Didn't work out. So we split. But before we split up, we had to move because they bought the building. Somebody bought the building, and there was all kinds of craziness. There was a fire, and we had to move. And we moved to 45th between 9th and 10th.
Or 2 blocks away.
A couple blocks away.
Yep.
Into a ground floor office space that actually had a pathway in between the buildings where we could put our vans and pull the vans inside into a little kind of patio area that was in between the apartments. And we had a space for all our gear in one building, actually in the boiler room. And our offices were next door in what was a bakery. So there was a bakery back in the 20s, 30s, 40s. It then was
And now is that the street level? Was it
Street
like you had it right there where people could see into your office, or was it like
the front of the
windows
office?
And
Then we had office windows built in that little alleyway, and it was the first floor. I mean, it was like heaven.
But especially that kind of layout in the city. Holy cow!
Yeah,
you don't see that.
Gorgeous. Yeah,
But,
took us months to find it.
What we got to back up a little bit, and you got to tell people what the hell you. Yeah, what you did. Did.
Yeah.
Owner,
What I do is different. What
shooter. Well, cinematographer.
I did. Well,
No, not cinematographer. What would you classify that as?
I would say I was the chief dishwasher, bottle washer.
That's my position here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. I've done everything in
Yeah,
broadcast.
yeah, but broadcast,
Video
right? So your business was
Editor,
filming,
shooter,
but
production
filming.
manager,
What kind of stuff did you do?
director, you name it.
Okay, so what kind of stuff did you do when you had your own business, like projects? What kind of projects were you working on?
So when I was in business with my partner, we did a lot of work for the networks.
Okay.
We did work for some talk shows. We filmed on location for them.
Okay.
And then we had crews mainly, which was what the business was. We had 6 cameras back in the day, beta cams, and shot for hotels, Starwood hotels, and we shot for clubs and nightclubs and crazy, great stuff.
So you got some stories in, I imagine, huh?
So most of the time I was working in the office, hiring the crews and sending them out. So when I was in business with my partner. So that lasted a year. Then I went back to work for ABC as a post-production supervisor at NBC Universal Studios at NBC.
Oh, wow.
NBC Studios, Universal.
Yep.
So I was on the 3rd floor and ran 20 edit rooms. And at that time, it was brand new technology, Avid technology, post-production, brand new. Everybody was starting to use it.
They don't think that way anymore.
Yeah. Well, that was the beginning of nonlinear. And I had come out of CBS, and I was an expert, or supposed expert in post-production nonlinear back in the day, because I started in tape and moved over to
The whole
computers.
quote-unquote ended up on the
Cutting
room floor, right?
Yeah.
So you like took actual film and cut it?
Way
No?
back. Yeah.
Did you really?
I started in 1979. I was a film transfer manager. So we would get 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter film from different people. I worked at a company called TPS in Boston. And we would color correct, as the film was running, you would color correct it. So it was, in those days, it was all a little funky. It wasn't like you could stop, you had to run the film to see it. And so we would run it and live color correct on the fly and transfer it to videotape.
Could you run it multiple times and color correct? So you got one shot?
It was a one-shot deal. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then people would send slides, and so we would transfer slides and color correct them. And this was before, everybody was really using videotape. It was just videotape was really, it had been 2-inch, and 2-inch was pretty crappy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people still shot on film because it looked gorgeous.
Sure.
So you couldn't compare the two.
Yeah.
And then 3/4 inch came in, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this is the
is
future."
it.
And it was for many years. 3/4 inch was the standard editing, shooting for years and years, and then it eventually went to Betacam.
So when a movie is made and they deliver it to the movie theater to play it?
Yeah, it was 35 millimeter film.
Okay.
Back in those days.
When did they stop doing that to where it became electronic or not electronic?
I think it's only like 15 years ago that it really went from film to digital. And now it's still, in many places, they still run film.
Really?
Yeah, there's still theaters that run film because it's so expensive for a digital projector. And you just can't get the quality
of a film,
unless you're
right?
spending the real money on digital projectors.
Right. The one time I was out in Colorado dating this girl, and I took her on a first date, and I wasn't making hardly any money. And we went out to eat, and there was a dollar theater.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it was like $1.50 a seat, right? And, of course, it's older movies. And I found out later, we'll talk about that because I think that stuff with the movie theaters is extremely interesting. But I can't even remember what movie we were watching. And you see it like on movies all the time, but this really happened to me. We're in there, and the frame froze. It goes,
yeah.
And then
I got a good story to tell
and
you
then it goes,
about that.
Psh, you can tell it burnt. And I was like,
yeah.
shit. I go, that really happened for real. That's the only time ever. That's why I was asking when they changed it, but to digital. But you're saying that like where my family lives up in Vermont, it's an older theater. They probably still use film, right?
I would think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's
good.
so expensive for
To
a
get a
digital
digital?
projector. Yeah.
Because like the big AMCs
And some of
stuff,
them,
that's
probably 16 millimeter film. I don't know if all, small theaters and out in the, the boondocks use 35. Not really sure.
So what's the other than obvious new
higher
numbers,
quality.
just like HD and 4K, it's like 16 and 35.
Yeah.
Same type of
Right.
theory behind that.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Bigger frame. You can project it bigger and make it look better.
Okay. All right.
So 35
All right.
is a much bigger frame. It's also, then you got 70 millimeter. So a lot of theaters went to 70 millimeter.
70 millimeter.
70, yeah.
So how big is the actual film?
70 millimeters.
I guess, right? 70 millimeter.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's big.
And the first IMAX or IMAX still is film. You've seen IMAX where they have the film running. I mean, a lot of them are glass.
So you can look up and see.
So you can see the film, and the film runs like 30 feet before it actually gets to the projector.
What's the purpose
crazy.
behind that?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
No,
Okay.
that's not my world.
But
Feature
man,
films,
you
but
think
crazy.
that an IMAX would be digital?
I'm sure they are now. I'm sure there are digital
Yeah,
IMAXs. But when IMAX first came out, it was all
still film?
Yeah, and I'm sure there is still all over the place. But I got a great story about the frame.
Burning up?
Yeah. So amazingly enough, I came from Boston to CBS, and I had been working for CBS News in Boston for the Northeast Bureau as a cameraman and as an editor and doing stuff with the editors in New York. There were union regulations where you had to be on CBS's books, and it's complicated. Anyway, so I came to New York, and amazingly enough, I had interviews at ABC and NBC that my mom had set up with her friends. I'm new in the business. And so my mom gets me these interviews with her friends' friends of friends of friends.
Okay.
Somebody they knew in New York. And I remember going to ABC and going up to the executive offices and meeting this woman. And the minute I met her, I knew she was very busy, that she didn't really want to talk to me, that she was going to spend 5 minutes with me because she was doing a favor for somebody.
Yep.
So that was my day. I came to New York City, and my day was ABC, NBC, and that was it. And so halfway through the day, probably about 12:30, I had done my interviews at ABC and NBC, and it was nothing. There were no jobs. There was one job as like a cable puller or something, and it wasn't going to be for a couple months. So I called a couple friends of mine who I had worked with at CBS, who had worked in my studio, and asked them if I wanted to go to lunch. And they said, yeah, sure, come over to CBS. And I was all excited, and I went in the broadcast center, and I met, his name was Bobby Green, and there was Walt Lighting and three or four guys.
Who's Bobby Green?
So Bobby Green was an editor for the national network for CBS News.
Okay.
He worked down in the basement where all the editors work.
So in your world, he was a big deal.
He was a big deal. Yeah, and he was a really nice guy. And so he took me to lunch, and we went to a bar right around the corner from CBS. And on the way back, it's Friday afternoon. It's about 1:30, something like that. I don't really remember exactly what time, but I knew it was just after lunch. And we got to the front door of the broadcast center, and he said, okay, it was great to see you. You know what? Have you met Dick Kraut? And I went, no. Who's Dick Kraut? And he said, Dick Kraut's the managing editor. He hires all the editors. Maybe, I can get you to talk to him. He's a nice guy. Maybe something in the future, might come up for you. I said, oh,
never
sure.
hurts to have a conversation, right?
Get me in the building. Yeah, I just want
yeah.
to stand in the building. It's so, such a historic place.
Yeah.
So we go in the building, and he introduces me to Dick's secretary, Mimi. And he leaves, and she says, well, I don't know where he went. He went out of the office screaming and smoking, and he could be back any minute or maybe an hour. I'm not sure. If you want to sit and wait, I'll let you know when he comes in, or you'll know because he'll come right through us.
He's got kind of a command presence, huh?
Yeah, Dick was, in those days, there was a lot of yelling and screaming in the news divisions of every network. It was live. It was crazy. It
Just
was
like
news.
you see on TV, or do they portray that pretty accurately?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was no fun. Yeah. There was a lot
fun?
of people screaming and yelling. It wasn't like a happy screaming and yelling. It was like screaming and like, screw you, F you, you screwed up. What's next? See you later. So So I sit down and she offers me some water and I'm hanging out. Now it's like 2:00 and it's Friday afternoon and I got to drive back to Boston. So it's like, oh God, how long am I going to sit here, wait? And is this guy going to show up? And I was like, all right, well, just stay because this is
opportunity
your shot.
Yeah.
So now it's 3:00 and she says, I'm really sorry. I don't know where he is. He hasn't called me. That's very unlike him. I know he went over to 60 Minutes. And I went, 60 Minutes? Oh, wow.
Oh, hello. Hey.
That's cool.
I know that name.
Right? Yeah, I know those guys. And so I sit there. And then another half hour, 40 minutes go by. Now it's Friday afternoon at
4:00.
Almost 4:00.
And you got to drive back to Boston.
And now I'm starting to think, oh shit, I got to sit in traffic. This is going to take me 5 hours to get home, blah, blah, blah. He comes in, screaming and yelling, smoking, blah, 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 slams the door. So like he's got this little, her office was right outside of his office. It was tiny. So and then he had an office right there.
He went crashing by
you
guys.
He went crashing by me, like,
slammed the
didn't
door.
see me, slammed the door, smoking, all upset about something. And I looked at her and she just kind of winked at me. She just kind of said, hang out. And so a few minutes go by and her phone buzzes. In those days you had a phone. You picked it up. Buzz, hello? Yep, he's still here. Yep. Okay, I'll let him know. She hangs up the phone. She goes, don't go anywhere. It's like, man, I've been here 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not going anywhere now.
Yeah, right. Now, she just got the call to tell you not to go anywhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. So he's in there. And a couple minutes go by. She picks up the phone again. Yep, okay. Go right in. So I go in, and he's got this little teeny office. And it is, you could barely see. There was so much smoke in the office. I mean, he'd been smoking because he was upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, I go in, he goes, sit down. It's like, yes, sir. Do you know how to run a projector? It's like, well, I've done 35 millimeter and I've done 16. And if you look at my resume, I don't give an F about your goddamn resume. Do you know how to run 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter projectors? And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, all right, good. So I've got an opportunity for you. You interested in working here? And I was like, yeah. I mean, this now it's like, woo, what's going on?
Yeah.
So he says, okay, and it was kind of a sad story. This guy, Al Cairns, who was the, what was it called? The film, what was it called in those days?
Now, who's Al Cairns?
Al Cairns ran the film projectors. Oh, the projectionist. Sorry, couldn't think of the name.
So that was his title.
So if you go to a film or a movie, the guy who runs the projectors is the projectionist. At 60 Minutes, they had their own projectionist.
Okay.
They had 2 basic theaters with a projection booth, and that's where they ran the dailies because they were still shooting a lot of film.
Okay.
So they were shooting 16 millimeter film. So when the correspondents or the editors and producers wanted to see a piece, they actually had to run film. Well, Al Cairns got very sick. He got cancer. And so...
Gee, I wonder with all the smoking around, right?
So the day I am there, 60 Minutes calls him up and says he's not coming in on Monday. We need somebody to replace him.
Holy shit, dude.
And guess what? They hired me to be the projectionist at 60 Minutes.
What a great story, dude.
I mean, I had moved here to chase this woman named Elaine, who's now been my wife for 34 years.
Oh, so you moved from Boston to New York.
I moved from Boston to New York thinking that maybe I'd get a job here. That's why I came to New York. I mean, my mom got me these interviews because I wanted to move to New York because my wife was working in New Jersey. Or my girlfriend was working in New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, now, so that to me, people bring up the word luck all the time.
Yeah.
And you know the definition of luck?
No.
When preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
So you just told a story that defines the word luck.
Yeah. I was in the right place at
the right time. But you were prepared, right? Now an opportunity came, and there you are.
Right.
Holy shit. So how long did you do that for?
I was there for 17 years.
What a good...
Yeah. I went from being the projectionist.
Dude, that could totally be a movie almost.
Oh, yeah. I got a million of these. I mean,
how fun is
I have
that?
stepped in shit many times in my life. I feel very blessed that I've had the opportunity to do so many things in my life.
Oh, yes.
Just by being at the right place at the right time, or just showing up.
Wow, that's shit, man.
You know, I'm not great at a lot of things, but I show up.
I show up. Yep. That's a key. I believe, consistency.
Yeah.
Right? Just show up and you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
If you just keep showing up, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, my father taught me hard work. He owned a construction company, and he was, he was very convinced and convinced me, although I fought him every inch of the way.
Of course, because at that time you knew better.
Yeah. You get older, you realize, I am my father.
Well, my dad told me this phrase all growing up, and I probably didn't truly understand it until I was probably early 30s, was do half as much, twice as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that,
work smart, as they say.
Yeah. At 17, I'm like, oh, fuck, Dad, you're nuts, dude.
Yeah.
You old bastard. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do 1,000 things. I'm going to be super successful. And
right.
He's like, nope. If you do half as much, twice as good, you'll get further in the world.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That was my dad's thing.
Work smarter, not harder.
Not harder.
Yeah.
It took me until just like last year to figure that out.
Isn't it cool though that till you end up back in the corporate world, right?
Yeah.
I was just talking to a friend of mine last night about that. I did all that too throughout my life, and I've been corporate and by myself and corporate and by myself and all that. And there's just something to me. You can go and own a business and be an entrepreneur and kick ass if you want. But there's nothing wrong with ending up in a corporation or a company, being the number 17 guy, and just kicking ass in your position.
Yeah.
Just take pride in what you're doing. And when I ended up in my current position, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to join. She's like, what are you looking for in a job and this, that? And, I wrote it all out. But I said, what? A big company, big like this, and this little cog right here that helps keep the machine running.
There you go.
I want to be that little cog to where they say, this is your territory. These are your responsibilities. Now go do your job. And
as they say jokingly, how's that working out for you?
It's working out great.
I know.
I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah.
I saw my boss today I've talked and saw my boss for the first time today. The last time I saw and talked to him was 32 days ago.
Wow. Nice.
He's like, the reason I hired you for that position or this position I'm in is because I don't want to fucking deal with it.
Right.
I know you can handle it. You go handle it. And if you need something, let me know.
Yeah.
And
that's great. Well, that's what you want in every employee. You don't want to micromanage them, and you don't want to have to manage them unless you have to.
No, I do not believe in micromanaging.
Yeah.
So
for me, after
all those years
a very long career of CBS and then running my business for 15 years, I'm in a new job, 30 days old.
So let me ask you this.
At a corporation.
Right.
And I'm way down in the totem pole. I'm back in kindergarten.
Yeah, but you don't look at it that way, do you?
No,
you look at your position and you own it, right?
I'm learning,
course.
there is so much to know that I don't know because this company does it a certain way.
Yep. You just got to step in line and
that's it.
Yeah.
So every day I'm just asking 900 questions. That's what I say. My manager, so we're in cubes and my direct supervisor
you're
sits
in a cube
behind.
farm, huh?
I'm in a cube. Yeah. I never, in my life ever thought or wanted to be in a cube. It's because the last 2 years I've been working out of my house by myself. It's got kind of lonely.
That's no fun either, especially for a creative mind.
For 13 years before that, I had an office, but I only had one other employee, so I spent a lot of my time in my office alone. And then I'd be out in productions, with a lot of people. But
right.
Now I'm in a building with 125 other people. There are 17 people within 30 feet of me, and it's all cubicles, and they're low. They're not really
So if you
tall.
stand up, you can see everybody.
I can see everybody.
Yep.
And so it was a bit of culture shock for me
Sure.
the first few weeks. I'm a month in, and I really like, It's a great company because there's a feeling of camaraderie. Everybody's really been nice to me, and I don't see. I've seen a few. You work at a job, and there's the guys or the girls or those people who have been there forever.
Sure.
And
Subculture.
it's all about war stories. It's all about how hard they have it and how great they are.
Right.
And it's an ego.
Of course.
And so
I earned this position.
yeah,
I earned
because I'm, and these younger guys and and I'm an older guy. And so the older guys are kind of attracted to me because they want to tell the stories.
But you are
the older guys.
You are the FNG though.
The FNG.
Fucking new guy.
I am the baby. Like I said,
FNG, baby.
Feel like I'm in kindergarten.
Yeah, but
And it's kindergarten only from the point of view is that I know all of the jobs. I know how to do it all, but I don't know how they do it, and they do it a very specific way with a computer system I've never used.
Right.
So the computer system runs the company, everything from sales and marketing all the way to payroll and
yeah, but the thing
products.
too is these systems I'm going to assume are repetitive. So once you learn these systems, you could be pretty well on them at 80%. Every once in a while, you're going to have to deal with something you don't know, right?
Right. Once I get all the systems down, there are just so many steps. Like there's when I do a quote, for a project, and the company I work for installs.
They probably got like a template
hardware.
or template, right?
No. You can do it 20 different ways. And every company who uses the software creates their own way of doing it because they have different products and services and ways of doing things. So the software allows you to do it many different ways. But it's not user friendly where there's pictures or graphics or anything. It's data. Put the data
zeros
in,
and ones, man.
Addresses, phone numbers, prices, money. It's all numbers, and it's all just typing all this in. And so it tracks everything, but you got to get all the information in. Right. So it's just time consuming.
Good in, good out, right?
Yeah, so exactly. And that's why they're a $1 billion company.
That's
just
awesome,
surpassed
dude.
$1 billion last year.
What?
Yeah. 2,500
now they can
employees,
afford to
$1 billion.
pay you.
Yeah. So
now they can afford it. That's why you got hired.
Yeah.
They hit
happy.
$1 billion, they're like, okay, now we can afford Mark.
Well, you're right.
But the thing is, let me ask you this. Go
That's
back up
pretty
just a
funny.
little bit. When you had your own business,
Yeah.
how long did you hang on to that because of it? I don't know, for lack of, ego, hang on to being in business because I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not going to work in the corporate world. I've been doing this for X amount of years. Did you have that attitude?
No, it wasn't about against anything. And it wasn't really, sure, there's pride in owning your own business and wanting to keep it alive.
Yeah, but there's pride in owning your position.
Right. So for me, it was really because of being independent, making my own hours, working the way I wanted to, and also making a reel. It's like every
making
year,
a reel like a video reel,
like a demo.
Yeah.
And it, up until a few months ago, I was still trying to create a reel.
So you're right. Yeah, I can see your timeline there. What the
So it only took me 30 odd years to do that.
Yeah, but that's like the cobbler's
Right.
shoe or
absolutely.
the mechanic that drives a clunker because he works on cars all day long.
I was never satisfied with anything
You're
I
your
ever
own
did.
worst.
I liked a lot of the projects, and now that I've stepped away from it, I feel very proud of the body of work, as they say, that I've
have created.
amassed.
Yeah.
And now my son's taken over the business, which is really exciting. And he is so freaking talented. It's scary.
You keeping a toe in the water there? Or?
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm going to help him run the business, and he's going to go out and do the work.
Kind of like consult with him, make sure everything's kind of...
help him, with the accounting and bookkeeping and business strategies and marketing and
Awesome.
and stuff, because he hasn't done a lot of that. He's been a freelancer for the last 8 years and worked in LA, so he's really great at his crafts. As an editor and a shooter, a cinematographer, he's just
uber
really
talented,
tops.
and now you just got to teach him the ones and zeros
Yeah,
of the
and he
business.
doesn't
right?
really. He doesn't want to deal with that too much, so he's got his own approach to it. Which my hats off to him. You know, whatever it takes, however he wants to do it. I'm here to support him in any way I can.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
It's got to make you. That's got a little legacy handing down to him, right?
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Yeah, I didn't.
Would you expect to be shooting to forever?
Yeah. I figured I'd be filming and editing and way into my late 70s, but this opportunity came up, and it's the right time. It's just the right time to step back and have a job, show up, be a cog in the wheel, but be a good cog in the wheel for somebody else.
Well, and to keep the project keep it moving forward, right?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing in running your own business is got to keep so many balls in the air.
Yeah,
and in a business like video production, the overhead is huge, and unless you got 6 or 8 people working for you, you're not making a lot of money. So it was
right.
It was a lot of work, but I loved it. I really love what I did.
And you're going to what I say about camaraderie,
Friendship.
Well, my position, I'm on the road.
Yeah, right, you're on the road, yeah.
But I could go to any corporate store. If I pull in, walk into the store, everybody there treats me like we've known each other for 20 years. And I've never met them before in my life.
Nice.
And it feels good, right?
Yeah, but that's you, Walt.
Is that me?
That's you.
Oh, you think so?
We haven't known each other that long.
How long have I known you?
A couple of years. Maybe. Not even.
I knew you before I met my wife.
Yeah.
Didn't I?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like you did.
Because I remember you picking on us being lovebirds when we first met.
I'm not sure how that happened.
I know, right?
Anyway, you're just a lovable teddy bear.
Oh, well, thanks,
you just
buddy.
walk in the room and you got a big personality and you're a big guy and you're just a sweetheart. And so why wouldn't everybody love
Wanna
you
hang
even if you
out,
don't
right?
know him? Yeah.
Oh, well,
When
thanks,
you
dude.
asked me
That was
to
nice
come
of you.
sit and talk, I was like, oh, that's going to be a breeze.
Oh,
It
yeah,
don't
easy,
matter
right?
what we talk about.
No. But I actually, thank you again. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Because I don't look at that.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
When somebody gives me a compliment,
Compliments are the hardest.
they're
thing
hard to take in, man. Yeah. They're hard to take in for me. For the longest time, I couldn't. And my wife has helped me with that too. And somebody would give me a compliment and we'd walk away and she's like, "Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They gave you a compliment." I go, "No, they didn't." What?
Yeah.
She's like, "See, you need to pull those in." But
I know that story.
you do something that I find absolutely terrifying and fascinating at the same time.
What'd I do?
Scuba diving.
Oh, my passion.
Oh my God, dude.
My
That
passion,
scares
man.
the living shit out
And
of me.
you don't think it scares the living shit out of me?
So that's why I want to ask you. What the fuck? Whatever got you into that? Somebody throw you in the water and be like,
No, my parents let me take a scuba class when I was 16.
what
And
triggered you to do that?
Well, so I grew up in Boston. Okay, I grew up
Boston?
on the South Shore of Boston.
You don't sound like you're from Boston.
I know my accent went away a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up in the South Shore of Boston, which is a fishing village, not anymore, but and grew up on the beach. Grew up on Cape Cod. Spent
Nice.
my summers on Cape Cod. Spent my summers in Hull, Massachusetts. Hull, Hull, which is
Hull,
on the beach, which is a peninsula. So spent all my summers in the water. I was a fish.
Okay.
I never wanted to get out of the water.
I was a complete opposite.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I loved the water, and it didn't matter what I did, whether I was on a boat or on the beach or in the water or swimming. I just wanted to be near the water, in the water. And then when I started, I took a marine biology class. It started with, just a high school marine science class. Learning about fish. And I remember Mr. Litchfield. He was the vice principal of the school, and he was the teacher, and he was a very dynamic teacher. And he started teaching us about, in those days, they didn't know much about it, which was the fish that lived in the deep parts of the ocean.
I love watching documentaries about that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
my
what
God.
got me was this one fish that had this
and had the light?
illuminated light that stuck over its nose, and it would attract fish that
And then
way,
that's
and then
how
it would
to eat
eat
'em.
it.
Yeah.
And so that was fascinating to me. And so then I was 16 and asked my parents if I could go scuba diving, and they let me take a class, and I got hooked. It didn't matter. I just loved it.
So when you started that, like, how did you do the pool thing, or did you go right into the ocean?
Nope. Yeah. I took it at YMCA. And then when my, you have to do your open water dive to get your certification. And so my parents went on vacation to Florida.
You couldn't do the open water dive right where you live?
I could. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I forget.
So
But we went to Florida not long after that, and I got to dive in Florida, and then I was completely hooked. The problem was the water in Florida is clear. You can see 50
Boston
or
is
100 feet. In Boston Harbor or Cape Cod, you're seeing 10 feet.
Maybe.
And the water's 50 degrees.
Yeah.
So wetsuit and gloves and boots, but go to Florida. And, I was just in Florida about a month ago, and I did 3 days of diving. I did 6 dives, and it was, there's nothing like it. It's just
So, but how many hours in the pool before you went into open water?
I don't remember what the requirements were when I took it.
Okay.
But it's usually, I think, 5 or 6 hours in the pool of training before you get your certification as a basic diver.
Now, do they have, besides the pool, do you have like written class?
Oh, you have classes, yeah.
So you learn
today
about
you can
currents
do it,
and that kind of thing, or?
Yeah. You have to learn about navigation. You have to learn about all your gear. You have to learn about all the things that can go wrong.
Which there's a ton of them.
There's a ton.
I got a 300 ring circus of imagination. So.
Oh, yeah.
And I watch scary movies.
Right? You can get the bends. You can get an embolism. You can blow up your lungs. You can bleed from the eyes. I mean, I could go on gross, horrible stories, but, you know what the basic rule in diving is? The one basic rule.
What?
Breathe.
Okay. So you saying that.
So if you can breathe, you can dive, kind of.
Well, that being said, I snorkeled for the first time in Maui.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And I was higher than a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That didn't help. So, because
I don't want to be scuba diving when you're high. Whatever.
So, I get snorkel gear, and I didn't put my flippers on. I just went out like waist chest deep with the goggles and the snorkel.
And the mask, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just going to dunk my head just to,
yeah.
And of course, in my condition, as soon as I dunked my head underwater and all this fish and all, because in Maui, the water's crystal clear, right?
Yeah.
Freaked me the hell out, dude. I was like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore.
Really?
So, yeah, well,
wow.
A couple hours later, I calmed down.
Yeah.
The hardest thing, you saying that, breathe, right?
That's it. Number one rule.
The hardest thing is when I stuck my face in the water for the first time, knowing that I could, the snorkel's out.
Yeah.
I'm like holding my breath.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I breathe and I was like, holy shit, I can breathe.
Yeah.
I'm underwater and I can breathe.
Well, it's like anything. It's like driving a car. You get behind the wheel, you start driving. It's like, holy shit, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You breathe out of a snorkel a couple times, breathe out of a regulator a couple times. All of a sudden it's like, this is nothing.
Okay. So people say if you're claustrophobic, you shouldn't scuba dive.
I don't know what that means. So people say what they say. People say they're claustrophobic. But, if you're claustrophobic,
I guess there's
and you don't
different...
like tight spaces, then diving in New Jersey or Boston would be tough because you got to wear a full wetsuit. And you do feel like you're in a straitjacket and you got the mask on and a thing in your mouth. So, yeah.
And it restricts
if you
your
had
movement a little bit?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, absolutely.
See,
so, if you do have claustrophobia, a thing, now people just make up stuff. So
but there's has to be different degrees of claustrophobic, right?
Right.
Because I can get in a crowded elevator, right? But where it gets me is if I can't move my arms up and down, or if I can't turn, I start to
Yeah.
panic a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. If you have claustrophobic tendencies, you don't like tight spaces, then I would say you need a lot more practice
Sure. Get more
to
comfortable.
be a decent diver and keep yourself alive than somebody like me who, none of that bothers me at all. I mean,
You get all
I
hooked up and
dive
dive and-
I dive in rivers and there's 1 foot or 6 inches of visibility. That's as far as I can see.
So what would be the purpose of that, though? Like, if you can't see anything, like, what are you doing down there? Like, is it just for the experience and, like, exploration, right? Because
So for me, diving became the process. So many times I would never know what I was going to find because I'm diving wrecks off the coast of New Jersey. So many wrecks change year to year because of the currents and the seas, and you never know what the visibility is going to be from day to day. Even though it might be a beautiful, calm day on the surface, there could be currents running underneath. There could be all kinds of different things going on. There could have been a storm that built up silt, and so you get in the water, and until you actually go down to whatever it is you're diving to, and in New Jersey mostly it's wrecks because it's a sandy bottom. Okay, so there's nothing to see unless there's a wreck. There's no coral reefs. It's a mystery, and so it's all the preparation to be prepared
in the build-up,
for
right?
anything.
Well, that and the build-up, and I believe that us as a species, we want to explore, we want to go look for things. So that's what you're doing, right?
Well, I always like to, as my wife says, I like change.
Okay.
I love change. I never want to do the same thing 15 times.
No, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm
so
the same
scuba
way.
diving is
It's
never
the
the
same.
same.
Yeah, I could see that.
So
Totally
every
see that.
time I got in the water, it was a mystery and scary and exhilarating.
Well, yeah, when you're a little bit of fear, your adrenaline pumps and you're good to go.
And I've come pretty close.
What's the deepest you ever been?
I think 152 feet. I actually don't think I did that on purpose. I think I found myself below where I was supposed to be
You're
going.
fucking around.
Because scuba diving, sport diving is 130 feet is the maximum depth you're supposed to go because of the time and the depth. It's all based on time and depth. So you can't.
Because how fast you can come back up.
Well, that's a whole nother thing altogether.
Okay.
So things happen with nitrogen in your blood.
Sure.
That's based on time and depth.
Okay.
So the deeper you go, the more nitrogen gets trapped in your blood, and the smaller the bubbles of nitrogen are.
Now nitrogen, correct me if I'm wrong or if you know this, that builds up because of the pressure. Your body itself has to maintain a certain
right. So it's
form,
called partial pressure. It's complicated math.
Right,
but that's the basic thing.
Basically, your body wants to keep certain room around organs and doing all that. So when it starts to get pressure, it builds up nitrogen to.
No.
Am I way off on that? Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that. So you cannot compress liquids.
Sure.
But you can compress gas. So our bodies are 90% liquid.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only 10% gas in our bodies, and there's nitrogen, oxygen, other gases in our blood.
Okay.
And so what happens is because of the partial pressure of oxygen and nitrogen, the mixture, it does certain things to your ability to function.
Okay.
So you can only be so the rules are very simple depending on how deep you dive. But if you dive to 60 feet for 60 minutes, that's I think 3 atmospheres, and so that's okay, and you can come right back up.
So you can be 50 feet for an hour, no big deal. You come right back up, and
pretty much. Now the rules today say that if you go to anything below 33 feet, you should stop at 15 feet for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because that will make you completely safe.
Okay.
In terms of, it's called off-gassing, getting rid of the extra nitrogen in your blood.
Okay.
And also, if you come up too fast, which is a whole nother problem, that's like having a soda bottle and taking the top off. And all the gas comes out of solution, out of your blood, and basically blows holes in your arteries and your nerves. And
It's a little painful, I imagine.
It's called the bends.
Okay, that's a definition of the bends. I was going to just that was my next question.
It's when the gases in your body come out of your blood as bubbles.
Okay.
And those bubbles then rip through arteries, veins. And a lot of times you'll find divers dive and they come up and they might have a bloody nose, bloody ears, bloody eyes. And that's because the capillaries are so small and some of the bubbles have kind of gone through the edge of the capillaries and cause a little bit of blood to come out, which is nothing. I mean, it's not a big deal. The worse it is, the worse it gets.
Right. So if you're at 100 feet and you just shoot to the top, you're probably in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, a lot of trouble.
Now, if you went, so those people that free dive.
So they're breathing the pressure at the surface.
So that's the difference.
Yeah. So when you scuba dive, you're diving to the pressure at the depth you're at. So the regulator on the tank and in your mouth adjusts the pressure and compression of the oxygen. So take a balloon, right, like your lungs. Take a balloon and bring it down underwater. It will shrink from the pressure.
Right, sure.
Come back up, it will expand back to its original size. Well, if you go down with the balloon in half full, and then you go down 30 feet and fill it to full, and then come up.
Wow, okay.
Now it's going to overexpand.
And break.
Because at that pressure, it's been filled. And so that's what happens with your lungs and your blood.
So a free diver sucks in that pressure at that level, goes down deep as they can.
And their lungs get squeezed. So their lungs get really small. Anything filled with gas in their body gets compressed.
Okay, but they can, because they like hang on to the rope or whatever, right? But they go down and come up so fast. So between them breathing in that pressurized air up top
at sea level, they come down. Even though it's getting squeezed, it doesn't matter. When they come back up, it's the same. Right.
Okay, that was cool.
But if you go down and you take a breath of compressed air at that depth and then come up, it's now going to expand as you come up. So that's why you don't want to.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's why you keep
cool.
breathing. So as you come up, you breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. And as you come up,
it levels you out.
It's adjusting for that pressure.
That's
the only way it could work.
Yeah. Man, how many people went through some shit to figure that out?
Jacques Cousteau, invented scuba, pretty much. Other people did it, but he was the one that really...
He really took it to the next level?
Yeah. So I actually worked with a guy named Dick... Oh, God. I'll remember it in a second. Anyway, he was the head of marine biology for UConn. And I met him about 10 years ago. And he was in the U.S. Diver Man Under the Sea program, which was the Navy, the U.S. Navy developed all the scuba tables and all the scuba diving techniques through the Man in the Sea program.
Okay.
And many of them got sick and many of them died.
Just trying to figure all that shit out?
Just trying to figure it out.
Now, is this back when
it's back in the
suits
20s, 30s.
Suits were that... God, what material is that? Where they had
it's neoprene now. It used to be rubber.
The brown rubber?
Yeah, it was rubber. It was really uncomfortable.
Holy man.
Horrible stuff.
And then the metal helmet, right?
The hard hat, yeah.
Oh, you ever wear one of those?
I have put them on. I belong to the New Jersey Historic Diving Society.
Okay.
So every year they go out to Dutch Springs, which is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. There's a quarry.
Okay.
It's about 120 feet deep at the deepest part. And they bring hard hats and helmets and all the gear, and they let people try it.
So have you tried it?
I haven't tried it with them, but I've put them on. There's a great show coming up in March called Beneath the Sea at the New Jersey Expo Center in the Meadowlands by Secaucus.
Yeah.
Every year in March, it's a huge monster scuba show. It's one of the biggest shows in the world. You should go. I'm going to go. You can come with me.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Show all the stuff.
the history of that stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And the Historic
what the-
Diving Society is always there showing off their stuff.
what's that one movie? Men of Honor.
Yes,
I think?
Men of Honor.
Oh my God!
Oh,
what a phenomenal
fantastic.
movie.
Yeah, I was just
Phenomenal
talking
movie.
about that movie with my son. So both my kids are
Scuba.
they're certified.
Okay.
We don't go a lot, but last year we went, and we do some shore diving together. So we'll take all our gear down to Rhode Island, and we'll dive off the shore into a shallow, 60, 70 feet area and dive for the day.
Now, do you do it where you go out on a boat and fall off the boat, or do you just go right off the shore?
Most of the time in New Jersey, there's not a lot of shore diving in New Jersey, so you got to go out in a boat. It's usually a all-day thing.
So what? Just because of the geographical setup of Jersey, you just don't go off the shore?
There's just not a lot to see. It's all sandy bottom.
Oh, okay. All right.
You got to go find something the fish are going to be attracted to.
So, 2 questions. Well, I'll ask you one. Coolest place you ever been scuba diving?
Coolest place.
Where it just blew your mind?
I've seen some really nice spots, off the coast of Jersey. Like I said, it's a mystery. Diving in Hawaii was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Because it was perfect and it was, I could see everything. But when you dive out here and you go down the line, and I have a video, I have a website I haven't dealt with in a long time, but there's a video where I shot, and you see the line. So when you get off the boat, you fall
You were in Jersey at
in
the
Jersey.
time. Okay.
Yeah, you fall off the boat. Right? You jump out in the water, and you follow the line. A rope to the anchor, and the anchor is when you wreck dive, the boat is hooked into the wreck. So a master diver, when the boat arrives, they GPS, they figure out where we are, that we're over the wreck.
Okay.
The master diver takes the hook, which is like an anchor, only it's light.
Yeah.
And he goes down to the wreck and he hooks it into the wreck and ties it off so it can't get released.
So it takes you right to the wreck. You can't get lost.
You can't get lost. Because in Jersey, if you're not on the wreck, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So you're gone. So you got to be able to get right down to the wreck. So the video is in the water and then going down the rope. And all you can see is the rope.
Oh, yeah. And,
That's it.
And like silt in the water,
That's
right?
it. For like
all that, dude.
a minute and a half.
Hey!
It's just the rope going by and going down and down.
Now, are you doing
down.
like hand over hand, like you're hanging onto it, or are you safety hooked to it?
No, neither. But
you're free swimming?
Because you're neutrally buoyant is where you want to be. So that means you're not going up, going down. But when you go in the water and you go down to the wreck, you're heavy. Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
you're negatively buoyant and you just sink.
Fuck all that.
So you don't have to hold on to. I mean, many people do, but you don't have to unless there's a current.
Okay. Well, so all right. Well, this is where I misinterpreted.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the boat you're on at the surface is like 45 degrees. So the rope is like at a 45-degree angle, like.
It can be. Or there's always a little bit of current, so yeah.
But they try to be straight up and down.
Well, I mean, it's going to be whatever it is.
Okay.
But yeah, they're going to be, at a certain angle because there'll be some current. There's always some current. Some days there is no current, which is amazing. By the time you get down to the wreck, usually there's very little current because you don't want to dive. Scuba diving with a big current is impossible and will kill you. So you got to be careful. So that's what the master diver does. He goes down to the wreck. He checks visibility. He checks conditions. He checks current. He comes back up. He says the current's going north to south, east to west. It's at about a knot. It's okay. It's silty. It's not. It looks great. It's horrible. It's like, screw this. We're not staying.
Okay.
So
okay.
he goes in and tells us.
It tells you what's going on.
Is it going to be okay?
Okay. All right.
And then you get in the water and you follow this line. And it's black. And there's the rope. And you follow the rope and follow the rope and follow the rope. And
dude,
follow
you're
the
on
rope.
your own on that
shit. And then
shit,
all
dude.
of a sudden,
Woo! Boom, there's a wreck.
Well,
Wow,
it appears slowly like shadows in a dark room. It's like, what is that? Oh my God, here it comes. Here's the bottom is coming up. I'm at 60, 70 feet. I'm at 80 feet. I look and there's a little bit of blue. Oh, I can see some light. Oh, there's a shape. Oh, it's actually part of a boat, because most wrecks that you dive have been down for 30, 40, 50 years from World War II. A lot of the wrecks off New Jersey.
Okay.
And they're all broken up. So
Yeah,
it's literally just pieces of a ship.
Yeah, but in a
lying
way
on the
that's
bottom.
kind of cool, right? So it's
So cool.
your imagination
I have no
just runs
idea.
wild, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
So it could be just the motor. It could be just a part of the side of the ship. Like the Tolton is a big freighter that is off the coast of Jersey. It's in about 120 feet of water.
How do you
And
spell that?
Tolton, or maybe Tolten, Tolten.
Okay.
And so you dive down to the wreck, and it's kind of lying, I think, on its starboard over.
Okay.
So when you get to the ship, it's the round part of the bottom of the ship, and then there's part of a little bit of the tower and wreckage on the top of the ship, and that's where they tie in. And so it's not. Wrecks are not upright, perfect.
Oh, of course
things.
not. Sure.
They're pieces of shit that have been beat up by fishermen who have dragged their nets over them, and so it's dangerous because there's often fishing line or there's nets attached to it that are ripped, and all kinds of stuff. So you got to be kind of aware of your surroundings and not And then some wrecks you can go in. But the problem with going in a wreck is that there's a lot of silt. And so if you go in too far and you're not a wreck diver and trained, you can get caught inside. And,
Fuck, dude.
No, so there's a lot
you're
of
on your own
things.
there. Fuck all, dude.
So it's really just your senses are at your attention, your focus is everything at its height. And that's
super. That
what
now
really
see,
got me.
Yeah, that to me is super cool.
Yeah.
That you're at that level,
Scary
but not.
shit sometimes, though.
Well, that was my next question.
Oh my God. Well, I've
gotta
come
tell-
close a couple times where things have gone wrong.
Sure.
And I got tied up. So you use a wreck reel. A wreck reel is a reel of string
Okay.
that you attach to the wreck so that you can get back to the line.
Okay.
Because, you can come up off the wreck, and then
They go pick you up.
Then they got to go pick you up. They got to so it's a whole process. But it's dangerous to not be on the wreck. It's called get knocked off the wreck. So
if you wanted to swim away from the wreck, you attach yourself with this reel.
well, you stay on the wreck and
Okay.
use the line to figure out where you are on the wreck and how to get back to find the
like
line to the
breadcrumbs
boat.
almost.
Yeah, it's a line. It's a
Yeah,
piece of
yeah.
string. You don't want to lose it.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So there's a lot of training that goes into how to use that line. So you go 20 feet and you tie it off
to something.
just very simply.
Right.
And you tie it. So you want the string to be taut.
I was going to say you want it
Because
tight,
then
right?
it's going to get caught on somebody else or something. And so there's a lot of skill that goes into these practices to keep you alive.
No, is this
You could lose the boat.
Yeah, is this like a bright color string? Like
Doesn't have to be.
doesn't have to be.
No.
Because you're light. Now, some of your gear, do you have a compass?
Oh, absolutely.
So like on your arm or something?
Oh,
or-
yeah. Got to have a compass.
So
Got to know what direction you're going.
yeah, because I was going to say you could get spun around. I mean, there's no way other than that to tell direction, right?
No. Yeah.
That's cool though.
It's
Scary as shit.
3D life.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's super. Yeah. Whew. Cool, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd get to that point.
Well, go to Florida.
Yeah,
Can
where it's
see
nice and
everything.
clear and
Yeah, don't
and-
have to wear much.
Yeah, yeah.
wear a little-
Yeah. How
Thing.
close
Wear
you
a
been to
bikini. I'd
getting
like
in?
to see you in a bikini and
Oh,
scuba
come
gear.
on now. Banana hammock and scuba gear.
That's it, man. You can do that in Florida. Can't do that here.
Well, you could do it here.
No, you wouldn't last 5 minutes. Hypothermia.
Oh, yeah,
The water-
drop you quick.
The water sucks the.
Life right out of you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. How close you come to not making it?
I don't know if my wife is listening. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, you probably don't. She probably don't want to hear. You don't tell her about those?
I try not to.
Okay. All right. Well, you've had a couple though.
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
I've had
All
it. I've screwed up a couple times. Yeah. Whatever that means.
Yeah, yeah.
I've gotten caught
Sure.
And, running low on the air, still at the bottom, trying to figure out how to do what I need to do to get to the surface with a stop. I have to stop at 15 feet for sometimes up to 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, knowing how much air you got
So
or
you
don't
gotta
have.
you got a third, and a third. So you get in the water with full tanks. You start coming up, when you have a third left, so you are half left, and then you get out of the water with a third just in case something goes wrong. You still have a third.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all you got.
Now, would you ever be interested in those deep water submarines or submersibles, like being inside one and going like super deep?
Yeah. Well,
would you ever do that?
I actually interviewed for a job with Woods Hole.
Woods Hole?
Woods Hole Institute on Cape Cod.
Okay.
It's where Bob Ballard spent a bit of his career. He found the Titanic.
Oh, okay.
Bob Ballard's now in Connecticut at Mystic Seaquarium.
Okay.
He's head of marine science.
So he was the original guy to find the Titanic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
what's that, 2.5 miles deep?
Yeah, something like
that?
that. Yeah, I forget exactly. But
And that broke in two, right?
That broke in two, yeah. And
that would be
it's
neat.
in two giant pieces, but it's it's so deep. So actually, I applied for a job as the video operator back in
Oh, no shit.
Oh God, it was just before I came to New York. It was 1983.
To go on an expedition
To be the video operator on the Trieste, the Alvin. Sorry, Alvin.
So the Elvin was the original.
Alvin was the original boat that Woods Hole had that he found the Titanic with.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
How far did you get in that?
Sonia Hagopian. Anyway, I remember having an interview with them on a picnic table outside, and there was Alvin sitting in its hangar, and it was dry docked, and they were working on it. And I applied for the.
How far did you get in the interviews and all that?
I got through one interview, and I didn't really have any science training or science background.
Imagine they had.
Yeah, they wanted
somebody
much
well
more
versed.
stuff. I don't remember what happened. It went well. I was very excited about it, but moved on.
Hey man.
And then I dove with a guy named Barry Clifford.
Barry Clifford.
Barry Clifford found a ship that went down in 1717 called the Widow. So the Widow was a pirate ship.
A true pirate
A
ship.
true pirate ship. So Barry
Was he treasure hunting?
Well, I would never say Barry's a treasure hunter because he has spent most of his life creating a museum and a museum around the Widow. And so the Widow is the only slave ship, pirate ship, really ever found in total, and all the artifacts are saved. I think he's got close to $4 million in doubloon and silver and gold.
No shit.
30 cannons and
Where was that?
flintlocks. So this is off the coast of Wellfleet. So it's only about
Where's
1,000
Wellfleet?
feet. Wellfleet, Cape Cod.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the outer edge of Cape Cod, on the back. The back side.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about halfway up.
What sank it?
Storm. It was
Okay.
nor'easter in 1717. So Sam Bellamy was the captain. In those days, pirating was legal because they gave you a letter that said that you worked for the U.S. government, and you could blunder other ships because they were at war.
Well, I don't know if that's changed much nowadays, but that's
Right. Anyway, so it went down in 1717 off the coast of Wellfleet, and he started diving it in the early 70s, and he's been diving it ever since. And Barry's in his 70s now, and he's
still diving.
He's got a gigantic museum
How deep
on the Cape.
How deep was it? Or how deep is it?
So it's a really strange thing. So it's only 1,000 feet off the beach. It's
Okay.
in 20 feet of sand.
Okay.
So it went down 1717. Over the years, the wreck, all the wood, all the metal, all the gold, everything sank into the sand,
Yep.
under the water,
Okay.
to the cobble layer.
Yep.
So you've heard of cobblestones.
Yep.
Cobblestones actually come from the ocean.
Yep.
They are the layer of sedimentary rock that is under the sand.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I knew that. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
If people listening. That's
There you
cool
go.
information, though.
So in the cobble layer is the wreck. So you have to take something called a diverter, prop diverter, and you take the prop wash from the boat, and they secure the boat in 4 different positions so it doesn't move. And then they rev the engines really hard. And because it's only in 20 feet of water, it blows a hole in the sand. And it blows a hole all the way down to the cobble layer, which is another 20 feet.
Okay, so the prop diverter is, I saw a movie one time where it's like this, looks like a big PVC pipe on the back of the boat.
Yeah, an elbow.
Yeah.
Like a pipe elbow.
And then they put it in the water.
Put it in the water, run the engines, and it shoots the water down.
No shit, and it moves all the sand out of the way.
Moves the sand out of the way.
And then they dig out what they can in time as the sand comes back in, I imagine.
The divers, then, the sand comes back. But what comes first is the mungweed, is the seaweed. So when you're, diving the wreck, there's no visibility. You literally can't see.
Yeah, because you just blew up everything.
You just blew up everything. Yeah. So you go down blind with metal detectors. He's been doing this for 40 years.
Holy shit. So he's basically got a blindfold on, like a bat almost, running off a metal detector and feeling for something metal, attaching some kind of mechanism to it and pulling it to the surface.
Some days. You
don't find anything,
you wait a half an hour, 40 minutes, and the silt settles.
Right.
Because there's current, and it blows all the silt away. And it gets clearer. But the mungweed, I remember diving one day, and I was diving into the sand and looking around, and the mungweed kept attaching to my mask. I couldn't see past my mask because it was just full of I don't know. It was like attaching to it. It was like glue.
Oh God, I'm fucking.
And I couldn't see. It was pissing me off.
Stop talking, dude. Fuck that.
Just couldn't. I was in 20 feet of water. I was like,
but
no
still,
big deal.
Yeah, but still, no.
It was fun. So I found the trigger guard to a flintlock.
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, that was cool. And then there's lots of other stuff out there because it was a firing range during World War II. So there's 40 millimeter shells in the water. So when you're looking for stuff with the metal detector, you pick up these shells. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff. So I dove
ship.
with him for 5 years and spent most of the time on the dock fixing the boats because
I'm sure.
The conditions have to be perfect because it's so close to shore. And because you can't move the boat because the boat gets anchored.
Right.
So if big waves or a storm, you're in big trouble.
So, and then also too, the season's up there.
Yeah, really short.
I mean, it's really short, right? Because
Really
you're not going out there in the winter. That's for damn sure.
No. So he dives mostly August, September.
Wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
A true pirate ship.
Yeah. So go on the Whydah. The Whydah is spelled W-H-Y. So it's Whydah. W-H-Y-D-A-H.
No, I'm sorry. W-H.
W-H-Y-D-A-H. Whydah. Or Whydah.
Okay.
The Whydah Museum. It's on Cape Cod. It's a fantastic museum. He actually had a traveling show for 5 or 6 years. It traveled all over the world, and then he bought this. It was the Cape Cod Seaquarium, and he bought
it?
the building. And
is that through grants and stuff? I imagine, like historical grants. And
people
all that.
who have investors.
Yeah,
he's got investors that have been investing with him for 40 years.
That's super cool.
Yeah, super cool. Barry's a really cool guy.
Imagine finding like true gold. Like
he's got over $3 million. I don't know what he's up to now, but probably close to 5, I would imagine.
Oh, and
that
is really neat.
They found the bell of the Whydah
really?
with the name on it early on.
Oh yeah, I imagine that was.
It took him like 8 or 9 years till he found it.
And that's early on.
That was early on. He's been diving at 30 years.
That's really neat.
Yeah. Fun.
What? There was a scuba question. Did you ever see that video? The guy, they're scuba diving, and an octopus came out and was like trying to take the guy's mask off his.
Oh yeah, I think
it's on you. I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah,
and that was freaking me out.
Yeah.
And the guy's like narrating the video. He's like, "Yeah, I knew he was."
Well, they have really strong teeth. They have 2 teeth inside.
So their tentacles pull
tentacles
it into the teeth, right?
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I knew that's what he was trying to do, and I needed to stay calm. And I'm like, how the fuck you stay calm with that?
Eat your mask off your face.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So
the only time I made a mistake once. So I'm scuba diving in Florida. Once. Just
Okay.
once.
Elaine, once.
Yeah, just once. I was in Florida diving on reef number 2.
Okay.
So off the coast of Fort Lauderdale and Pompano, all the way up to West Palm Beach, there are 3 reefs. So reef number 2 was in the middle. And so I was diving reef number 2, and it's gorgeous. And I came across a nurse shark. Ooh. Well, nurse sharks can get really big. I think it was about
but they don't eat people, I was told.
Feet. No, they're vegetarians.
You know what, though? It's still a fucking shark.
And they have gigantic mouths.
Yeah. I had an encounter with a nurse shark. Go ahead. Keep going.
So anyway, I'm diving this reef, and I see the nurse shark. And, don't touch the fish, they say. Don't screw with a fish that's bigger than you.
Yeah, sure.
I decided to touch its tail. This thing, 14, 15 feet long.
Turns and looks at you?
4 or 5. Yeah. His body turned like in half, and his mouth opened a little bit, and I thought it was over. I thought he was going to eat me right then and there. And luckily, he just kind of swam away pissed off.
He's like, who the fuck? I ain't messing with that. Or he turned to look, he goes, I can't eat that.
Yeah. It's not a plant.
Yeah, I was paddleboarding down in Key West. And we're out in the bay. And, I'm like, there's a shark under my paddleboard. Whoa. And somebody's like, that's a nurse shark.
Yeah.
And they're like, it doesn't eat people. I'm like, it's still a fucking shark. Yeah. In your mind, a shark is a shark, right? And then the only thing you think of it, Jaws and all that. But
you want to see something crazy? Christina Zanato. Look her up.
Okay.
She is a what do you call it? She's been diving for years and years and years. She dives with sharks. She dives with sharks with a male suit. So the steel.
Yeah. Male. So if they bite you, they.
Yep. And she removes.
It just crushes you. It doesn't.
Yeah. So, right. Yeah. She removes hooks from them, and she's been doing it for 25 years. Shit. And there's a video of her. So you can, sharks have this lateral nerve that runs through their body.
Right.
And if you stroke it, or if you
they get all calm,
they fall asleep, and they just kind of lie there. And so there's a video of her with some great Spanish music of her being with the sharks, and then taking the shark, and you'll see, and I won't even tell you what it is. You have to go see it. Zanato. Zenato.
Wait a minute. What is it?
Zanato. Zenato. Zanato.
That'll come up. Put that in
Christina.
/shark, and it'll probably come right up, right?
Oh man, it's such a cool video.
Would you dive with sharks?
Yeah. I worked at the New York Aquarium for 5 years as a diver, tender, volunteer, cleaning the tanks. And so I don't have a desire to dive with a shark. So
you've been in it, right?
I mean, why do I want to dive with a shark? There's so much else out there.
Oh, that's a good point. I was just thinking
people are chumming water and diving with sharks and getting bitten. It's stupid.
No, I'm talking about where you're in a cage and they.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah. I find that to be one of those hype things of our life. Yeah. That this time we've got to, be on the edge. Diving is on the edge enough. Some of the stuff that I've done, and it wasn't about being on the edge. And diving with sharks just seems stupid.
Yeah, right. Like, why put yourself?
Sorry for all those people who love to dive with sharks.
That's what you think, right?
I don't get it.
What's that movie where they supposedly dive with sharks and the cable breaks in the 32 meters? That's what it is.
Is that with the husband and wife?
No, that was Open Water.
Open Water. I love that.
Did you?
Movie. I did. My wife hated that. She wouldn't watch it.
Dude, I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, something's going to happen. And then the guy got eaten first?
I think so, yeah.
And then the lady just drowned herself.
So that's the
and that was the end of the movie. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's the perfect reason why you stay attached to the wreck and come up to the boat. You don't want to come up and find the boat gone.
Gone. Yeah, but that premise was like
The boat captain forgot. He didn't count heads. He just didn't count heads. It's that easy.
Yeah, one. Oof. Yeah, no thanks. You're on your own, dude. Enjoy it, and I'll let you tell me stories and send me pictures.
Yeah, I'll
How's
be
that?
going this
Perfect.
summer. I'm starting to prep my gear now.
Where's the next trip?
Well, I'll be down in Florida in a couple weeks, so probably do a dive or two down there, and then I got to get my dry suit repaired that I got to do soon. And I'll go to Dutch Springs, this training center out in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. There's a quarry where you can practice. So I'll go there first and get my skills back.
Is the water pretty clear there or no?
It can be. On some weekends you can get 250 divers, 250 divers all diving, and it gets silty.
It gets a little.
But they have planes and cars and
they
boats.
toss a bunch of shit in there for you to go down?
Check out Dutch Springs. It's also a water park. So you can go and
really?
just do the water park, or you can scuba dive or do whatever you want.
Oh, that's
so
really neat.
I'll do that a couple times this year, and then I'll definitely do some ocean diving.
Now, what's Dutch Park? Is that
Dutch Springs.
Dutch Springs. Is that almost like a training ground, right? So you can go down and mess around with a wreck, so you can get familiar with.
Yeah, that's
and
where
get comfortable around wrecks.
Yeah,
is that the idea behind it?
Yeah, so all my training since I've been in Jersey has been at Dutch Springs for my emergency stuff and my master diver and all the certifications I've gotten over the years.
So you're considered a master diver?
Well, there's dive masters and then there's master divers. So a dive master is higher than a master diver.
Dive master is the highest. What's the highest? Like in the Navy or?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's wreck diving. There's all kinds of certifications now you can pay for. So
of course.
More,
yeah.
You want more certifications, you can get them. I'm a wreck diver, so I'm certified to actually penetrate wrecks. So that's certification that I had to get, and that's working with compasses. And
is that a certain depth as well?
No.
You can go as deep as.
Yeah, that's the depth thing is related to. How much air you carry. So you get trained on single tank diving and it's either non-deco, which is non-decompression diving, or decompression diving. So decompression diving means that you're down beyond what you can do to come right up. So 60 feet, 60 minutes. So when you decompression diving, you're down beyond that limit.
So you're at 100 feet, and that means you got to stop on the way up to
no matter what.
Balance out.
Right. And depending on how long you stay down, depends on how long you have to sit at 15 feet or whether you got to do more than one stop. Sometimes you got to stop at 60 feet and then at 40 feet and then 20
Now,
feet.
is that, how do you determine that? Is that just through your training?
Based on your computer.
And now that's on your arm or that's on your gear?
Yeah.
So a little screen will tell you 60 feet, 40 feet, or like it'll be like 60/3, 40/3.
Yeah, there's a dozen different types of computers that tell you how deep you've been, how long your stop is, and all that kind of stuff. So,
nice.
So it all just tells you exactly. And what's great about computers are, in the old days with Navy tables, they were a very strict line, like 20 minutes, at this depth.
Right.
Well, nobody dives at that depth. You dive 60, 62, 65, 54. Right. And so what a computer does is it tracks all that. So it gives you more accurate bottom time.
So that obviously to stay safe, but to give you more time underwater, right?
And then people are diving. So you dive regular air, which is nitrogen and oxygen.
Yep.
Then you can dive nitrox, which is a higher concentration of nitrogen.
What's the purpose of that? To go deeper?
So it gives you a well, no, it's not about depth because depending on the amount of nitrogen in the mixture, there's limits on how deep you can go. So the more nitrogen you put, you can't go as deep. So then you have to go to helium. And then other mixed gases to be able to give you more bottom time. But what gives you the most bottom time is a rebreather.
Wait a minute, though. hold on.
I know it gets complicated.
Yeah, but before the rebreather, now the gas that you have mixed, you've determined that, okay, today I'm going to dive at 100 feet, so I need this mixture?
Right.
Is
So you
there
have
what-
to plan your dives.
Yeah, okay,
And
that
there's
makes
kind
sense.
of a couple standards that people use.
Okay.
So normal air is 21% oxygen.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought it was less than that.
When you do
Anyway.
nitrox, then you go to a higher percentage
Of oxygen.
Yeah. So you go to 32 or 34, and that's pretty much where you go.
And then that gets
gives
you deeper.
It doesn't get you deeper. It gets you. It's better to recover. Your recovery on the surface and off gassing is faster.
Okay. Okay.
So you might not have to do a stop as long. You could stay down a little bit longer. So it
Right.
just gives you a little more leeway on all
Okay.
your numbers.
And then a rebreather is what?
So a rebreather just takes the oxygen you're breathing and it scrubs the carbon dioxide out of it.
Ooh.
And it never really ends. So it's not like you have a limited amount. I mean, you do have a limited amount, but now
it
you're
extends
talking
it.
hours of bottom time as opposed to 20 minutes.
Do you have one of those?
No.
Expensive?
Yes. 10,000, 8,000 for a rebreather. I mean, it's probably less now, but that's what it used to be.
Wow.
I
can see.
I think you probably could do. I think you can get them for 6 now, and there's a lot of them out there. A lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I could see the benefit of that, obviously.
Oh yeah, you get
Holy
a
cow.
huge bottom time, but it's complicated. You're looking at, I think, 6 gauges
Yeah.
for all the
Wow.
different things that could go wrong.
Yeah, but if you're interested in that and you can
Yeah, you
compute
got to
that
do
in
it.
your dome, you
There-
know, you can figure that out and you're comfortable with that. I could see people doing that.
Rules. You got to follow the rules exactly.
Check your ego and just yeah.
Yeah,
I can see the attraction. Like
absolutely.
I said, I'm fascinated by it, but it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You know, I love watching it on the Discovery Channel and all that, but I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. Now the same would be like going in space, right?
Yeah.
I'd imagine. Well, obviously there's
Worse.
other,
Much more dangerous going into space.
shit flying around. But
And
that's a
I
whole
will
other
never
topic.
I will never skydive.
You'll fucking float 100 feet in the water and
Yeah. Why
but you
not?
won't jump out of a plane.
No, because that's out of control. You have no control. And scuba diving, at least I can
All right, yeah, I can
control
see
the
that.
speed and how deep.
I
and
wanna
You jump
skydive.
out of a plane, you're.
I want to
that's it.
skydive, though. I got to do that.
Yeah,
I haven't done it yet.
See, I knew that was going to happen. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Doesn't want to scuba dive, but wants
We'll
to
jump out of
skydive.
a plane.
You're nuts.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
You're insane, Walt.
Holy shit! Well, dude, man, I tell you what. This was. Thanks for explaining the whole scuba diving.
Yeah,
thing.
I probably got a couple things wrong, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, close enough, right?
Yeah.
People got the idea.
Yeah.
That you're fucking
People who don't
crazy,
know.
but that's all right.
Yeah, the people who do know, there's divers out there going, he doesn't know shit.
Nah, well, that's yeah, but you know what? You enjoy it. You have a good time with it.
I love it.
You love doing it.
I love it.
And you,
Yeah.
most of the time, stay safe.
Yeah, that's it. Stay
Yeah.
safe.
But look at you're putting yourself in a situation or in a environment that we're not built for.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right? We're not built to go.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about diving is the cold water.
I can see that. Now, is your tolerance getting less as you get older?
Yes.
Yeah, blood run a little thin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I get colder fast now. Used to not care.
Yeah. Well, that's
Now
I
it's
used
like,
to do.
I'm getting cold. Get me the hell out of here.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of things younger when I didn't care, but now I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate you coming down, man. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a
was a lot of
blast.
fun, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
How cool is that about a real life pirate ship, right? And scuba diving. Are you a fan? Let me know. How about some horror stories or really cool stories? I'm all about either one. Thanks for listening. You want to, again, check out a couple things for me? I'd appreciate it. LiveRishi.com. Use the code word table. Get a serious discount. And YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Got some cool things coming that way. And contact me. You want to come on? Tell a story, just bullshit, or during the travel and tour, you got somewhere really neat you want to hang out with and do an episode, let me know. Best place to get a hold of me is on Instagram, WKT Podcast, my website, waltzkitchentable.com. And till next time, much love.